Corey here from Solenoid Studio, and I thought it was about time I let you guys out there who are using sample libraries, in particular East-West sample libraries, thought it's time to let you guys know about just a little disclaimer about a couple of their libraries, one of them being the Dark Side, the other one being Ghostwriter, which I'm going to focus on in this video, that have been marketed with a lot of hype, have received good reviews, and are fairly expensive, especially when you consider that there are a lot of other libraries out there like these that have just as many samples, just as deeply sampled, that are half the price. Now, what I'm going to tell you about Ghostwriter is it was advertised in a certain way and was put out there in a certain way and sold in a certain way so that they could avoid a lawsuit. But the content is literally remixed, reamped content from previous East-West libraries, sold and repackaged as new and sold at full price. Now, you may be thinking, how is this possible? How do they get away with it? It's easy. You go onto their site, you look up Ghostwriter, or even the Dark Side for that matter. It doesn't explicitly state where the material was recorded, when the material was recorded, or it doesn't explicitly state that it is in fact new material. It just advertises it, building up how good the material is in it, and even alludes to the fact that some of the material may have been recorded by or was recorded in East-West studios. That tells you nothing, when in fact the libraries, the Dark Side and Ghostwriter, which I'll show you here now, are literally remixed content from Ra, Ministry of Rock, Goliath, symphonic choirs, and a couple of other older libraries that they have, even Storm Drum too. The sounds are not new. What Doug Rogers has essentially done is taken all of the samples in those particular libraries. He's chosen all of those particular samples in those libraries and taken them samples, run them through a few effects, nothing special, just a few onboard effects, and then copy-pasted them as different patches. Now, we're going to take a look here in Ghostwriter, okay? We've got this patch here called Gamelan Box Master. Now, anyone new to this library would think, oh wow, newly recorded material that's been put through special effects by the guy from Porcupine Tree. It's something new and exciting. There was a lot of work put into it. I'm here to tell you that it's all an illusion. You go into Ra and you go to the Gamelan Ensemble or the Gamelan, any of the other ones. You play the patch and you realize that they are both exactly the same thing. One of them just run through some very cheap distortion. Have a listen. Now, the same applies with most of the guitars, if not all of the guitars, in the guitar section of Ghostwriter. They are all copy-pasted versions of guitars that can be found in Ministry of Rock 1 and 2. The only minor changes is that the guitars have been chucked through a couple of really cheap effects, just really quick effects, and then the guitars exactly as they were programmed in the original libraries with exactly the same sounds. They're right there in Ghostwriter in exactly the same state as they were. The only difference is they've been put through a quick amp or a quick process. It is a very cheap and very low dirty technique to do, to recycle these sounds and then sell them at full price, which the library can be bought on its own for between $200 to $300 as a hard drive. And as you know, it's better to download their individual products as hard drives because they use browser hosting for downloads. The only other way to get around it is to buy into their complete Composer Cloud subscription, which allows you to get their libraries at $30 a month. I'm not going to go into that, but it is a pretty good plan if you want to get a hold of their libraries and you don't want to spend money on recycled libraries like Ghostwriter and the Dark Side. Now, I'm going to look at another couple of patches here, the acoustic guitar. Now, as you can see, it's you've got a lot of patches in here, and it takes up a lot of space. It's about 50 gigs, but that is unnecessary gigs. You are getting multiple copies of the same instrument in this library, just named differently and changed slightly in the actual play engine. So we've got here Acoustic Guitar No Attack. That is literally just the guitar patch, copy-pasted, and then set with an attack envelope. And now, if we go down to Acoustic Guitar, what have we got here? Acoustic Guitar Harpsy-like, okay? Again, copy-pasted the exact same key-switched instrument with all the same articulations, but it just sounds slightly different because it's changed in the play engine in that particular patch. Okay, you seeing what's happening here? Let's go down to the M83 Key Switch Master. Again, it is just exactly the same patch with exactly the same amount of gigs and information, but it's been put through a different effect. And it's the effect is very slight and very cheeky, if you ask me. So as you can hear there's hardly any difference. Let's look at another one. This one's called Crystalline. And as you can see there, the only thing that's changed is a little bit of delay and an outboard filter that the sample was run through. The exact same thing happens in the next patch, again containing all of the gigs of information that the original patch contained, copy-pasted. This is called modulated. Now, if you ask me, that is just that's basically a scam. I know that they can't be charged or fined for that sort of thing because the library is literally not sold as new content. It is not advertised as new content. It doesn't say anywhere explicitly that it's new content. It merely says that this guy from Porcupine Tree and Doug Rogers has produced a collection of sounds and released them. Many of these sounds recorded in world-class studio, East-West Studios. It is all just smoke and mirrors. And it's a horrible thing to do this and then to charge people the maximum amount of money for a library. That is essentially both a greatest hits remix. The same thing was done in the Dark Side. Most of the patches were just distorted patches from Ra and from Stormdrun and from Goliath. Literally just the same patches copy-pasted but just run through a distortion box. You could do exactly the same thing if you took those libraries and played those exact sounds through an amp sim in your DAW. Okay. Now the last one I'm going to show you, just to give you an idea of how ridiculous this whole thing is. Here's SW Explosive Drums, which can be found in Ghost Rider, and this is what it sounds like. Now let's go to the equivalent patch in Stormdrun 2. Now, I pretty much have nothing further to say about this. Sound on Sound gave Ghost Rider a top review. I can only gather it's because they do hundreds of reviews per year and they've just forgotten about what the samples from the original library sounded like, and they just didn't make the connection. The Dark Side even got multiple awards. Okay? Now, from my personal point of view and from many other people's point of view, people who don't like to be tricked and scammed would agree that that is complete and utter nonsense. for people for people who aren't very familiar with East West libraries and who totally overlooked that fact and who gave these libraries top awards. And this library was sold to new customers and existing customers who thought it was new content, but it wasn't. So yeah, basically, if you're looking to buy a library from East West, and you're looking to find something good, make sure you purchase the ones that specifically state that they were produced with Nick Phoenix. Okay, Nick Phoenix is the real mastermind behind most of East West's best libraries, if not all of East West's best libraries. He is the real the real musician, the real programmer, the real sound engineer, recorder, and his group of people with Quantum Leap. So yeah, make sure that if you're going to buy something, it's got Nick Phoenix's name on it, because Doug Rogers can simply not be trusted. Do not trust anything that gets released under his name solely, specifically his name, especially if it lacks the name of Nick Phoenix or other names that were involved in the production of the best libraries, because the chances are it's going to be a library filled with content that's either not exactly up to par or content that has basically just been recycled. All right. So that being said, I'm going to just leave it at that, and I hope the information I've provided to you guys today has been helpful, and that it can help you make a decision on buying libraries from East West, and sort of maybe the people who already have libraries from East West, it'll open their minds, or open their eyes to what's going on, especially people who thought, it sounds like the same content. Is it the same content? Well, yeah, I'm here to basically tell you it is, and there's nothing you can do about it except just keep your eyes open. So thanks for watching. Hopefully you made it through the whole video and got some good information out of it, and I'll see you later again with another video that hopefully focuses on some more positive content, and I'll see you then. Check you later.